Hello everybody and welcome to a Bourbon Bowl special where the South Central Louisiana State Mud Dogs will be going on the road to play against the University of Louisiana Lafayette Raging Cajuns. They are considered to be a little bit better on paper, and Kirk Herbstreit is going to roll with them, but we won this game last year and we're coming into this game undefeated so far this season, going 4-0. But before we start playing that game officially, we do have some upgrades for our coordinators that I want to use real quick. First and foremost, going to go over to Chris Clark, where I think we're going to go for this shutdown upgrade here for our defensive coordinator. And then as for our offensive coordinator, since we love our running attack, we're going to go for the daylight upgrade. That way we can get some more broken tackles, missed tackles, all of that good stuff. Makes our offense so much more explosive. But now that we got those upgrades out of the way, let's jump right into this game, and I'll see you out there on the football field. So here we are at the University of Louisiana Lafayette's home field in Cajun Field, and we are going to be geared up for an exciting game for this Bourbon Bowl matchup. Going into this coin toss real quick. Looks like it's going to be heads, and we're going to elect to kick this ball off to start the game. With our Bourbon Bowl rivals' very first drive of the game, they actually went 3 and out, so we're actually going to start with some pretty nice field position. Going to get it off to John Espinoza for our first bigger play of the day, get us this first down. And then a couple plays later, Casey Bug is going to get us a carry here for another 7, gets us another first down. So starting off very nicely with Stan Castillo and Casey Bug at the helm. A couple of plays later, Tim Smith is actually going to get the pitch from Stan Castillo, and leads to a pretty good result. So good that we're actually going to go with something like that again. This time Stan Castillo actually keeps it, gets the first down. Looks pretty excited to get that first down carry, but for some reason it looks like Stan Castillo went out of the game. So backup quarterback Gee Grenouille is going to come in, and looks like he'll play for at least a decent portion of it, but he'll try to get into a touchdown, but he fumbles it, but Nate Colvin's there to pick it up, and the South Central Louisiana State Mud Dogs are going to take a 7-0 lead. But the Bourbon Bowl rivals on the other side aren't going to give up quietly just yet. They want to get revenge as well, and so they're going to keep driving down this field. 2 first downs in a row, and it looks like this is going to be a third once again, this time with Chris Bozeman getting the catch off the wide receiver screen. Actually not very next play, but on a 3rd and 10, Justin Jones is able to run a nice route up the middle, gains 21 yards on the play, and which is then set up by Desmond Ryan, gains 4 yards, but Nicholas Beverly does stop quarterback Matt Anderson from getting the first down, so it's going to be 4th and 2 at the 5-yard line. Mud Dogs are in a position to hold them to a field goal. However, our Bourbon Bowl rivals want to go for it as well, and not only do we not get the stop, but also Ryan Brooks gets the touchdown and evens it up 7-7. So here we are, 2 minutes left in this first quarter. Mike Bullock's going to get the kickoff at about the 3-yard line. Looks like he has a nice lane. He gets away from one would-be tackler. He only has one more man to beat, but Casey Bug is there to lay down a block, and Mike Bullock is able to get the return for a touchdown. 98 yards on the play. Only had to break away from 2 would-be tacklers, and your Mud Dogs are going to be up 14-7. But the Raging Cajuns aren't going to give up quietly just yet. Very first play following the kickoff return for a touchdown, Brian Felder is going to get the catch from Matt Anderson for 11 yards. And then it's going to be followed by a nice stiff arm. Matt Anderson really fighting for every yard in this Bourbon Bowl rivalry game. Sets up the 2nd and 4, which does get converted for a first down by tight end Justin Jones. Nice gain for 11 yards. Nice little run after the catch as well. Following that first down, Matt Anderson is actually going to scramble upfield. Doesn't see anybody open and gains 14 yards on the play. Very next play, though, Matt Anderson gains 5 more yards there, which sets up this 3rd and 2 for your Bourbon Bowl rivals and Louisiana Lafayette, which thought we stopped them for a 4th down, but it looks like Desmond Ryan just gets across the line and is going to be a fresh set of downs for Louisiana Lafayette. As for how, if they're going to be able to capitalize, going to have to wait and see. But all of a sudden, Louisiana Lafayette now has first and goal opportunity, and Desmond Ryans is going to be able to capitalize, score a touchdown. It is now a 14-all game, with that being the last play of the first quarter. So the first quarter of play went pretty solid. We're still up 14-all. Gee Grenouille actually does a real good job getting it off to Tim Smith, the true freshman out of Washington. Nice 20-yard gain on the play. Following the 20-yard gain from passing play, Casey Bug is going to then rush it upfield for a nice 5-yard gain. Makes it a more manageable 2nd and 5 for your South Central Louisiana State Mud Dogs. A couple of plays later, Casey Bug's going to try to get the screen, but he stumbles. Still is almost able to get the first down, but it looks like it's going to be just short for 4th and 1. But Henry Klein is going to go for it nonetheless. Only needs to get 1 more yards and believes in his rushing attack. And that belief is going to be paid for with Casey Bug able to get the first down and a little bit more after that. Fresh set of downs now for the South Central Louisiana State Mud Dogs. Next play, Gee Grenouille is going to scamper upfield for an 11-yard gain on the play for a nice first down on the play. So, Mud Dogs are still doing pretty well despite losing the starting quarterback. We did just hear back for what that injury report was for Stan Castillo. Stan Castillo does have a bruised elbow, but it looks like it's going to be held out for the rest of the game. So for the rest of the game, it's going to be Gee Grenouille running the helm. He was a starting quarterback last year, and we're going to be stuck with him for the rest of this game. So, but Gee Grenouille is doing pretty well thus far. Not making any mistake and leading the team to a couple of touchdown drives as Carl Wright takes the handoff from Gee Grenouille, and it's going to be 21-14 for your Mud Dogs. Ensuing possession, Matt Anderson is going to try to keep it up the left-hand side, but true freshman Casey Gibbs, who subbed in for, I believe, Bobby Boucher on the play, he's going to get the tackle for a loss, and that actually led to a 3 and out, so we have the ball right back, and we have an opportunity with just a couple minutes left in the first half to make this a 2-possession game, and with runs like that, we just might be able to do just that as Casey Bug has another huge carry on the play. Makes it a 2nd and 6 for your Mud Dogs. Following that play, Gee Grenouille is going to drop back the pass. He drops it in the bucket for Nate Colvin. Huge 32-yard catch. Thought he was going to be able to sneak in there for a touchdown, but it looks like we'll just have to settle for another rushing touchdown for Gee Grenouille instead, as your Mud Dogs are going to take a 28-14 lead with just a minute 17 left in the first half. Ensuing drive, Louisiana Lafayette feels a little bit of urgency at home in this Bourbon Bowl rivalry game, so it's going to be a pass off to Brian Felder. Brian Felder gains 14 yards on the play, and that's going to lead into another first down play for Jeff Morris, who gains another 13. So the Louisiana Lafayette Raging Cajuns are driving right down this field. They want to get another touchdown and a little bit of momentum going into this halftime, because they don't get the ball back, or we say they won't be starting with the ball in the second half, so if they can get some points on the board before halftime, that'll be beneficial for Louisiana Lafayette, but we're going to try to stop them. However, looks like James Joyce, the senior safety, is down with an injury. Going to have to check out what his injury is if he doesn't return to the field shortly, but for now, the Mud Dogs are holding as they force their first incompletion of the entire game. But of course, that's going to be reversed right away with a quick throw for Keon Davis. Gains 12 yards on the play. Looks like it's the backup running back getting some work. Ensuing play is going to be another slant up the center. Brian Felder with his 5th catch for 66 yards. Although it almost leads to a touchdown, but the South Central Louisiana State defense is able to get in there and break it up. So 2nd and goal now for your Mud Dogs as Matt Anderson tries to drop back and pass, and he tries to throw it up to his right-hand side, but is not able to capitalize, and they're going to have to settle for a field goal to end this first half. Your Mud Dogs are leading 28-17 going into the second half. Alright, so here we are in the second half of this Bourbon Bowl Classic. Very first play of the second half is going to go to John Espinoza, coming as a nice check down option for the backup quarterback Gee Grenouille for a solid game of 5 yards on the play. Moves the chains, and he's making some smart decisions for us. Next play, John Espinoza is going to get his second consecutive catch on this drive, this time for a whopping 6 yards on the play. But, moves the chains for a first down. Sets up this KZ Bug run for a gain of 10 yards. So, free us consecutive plays where we've gained more yards than the previous play. Going to hopefully set up a really big play downfield, and it's going to go to Darren Joyce, who gets 41 yards gained on the play, and it sets up this nice run by Gee Grenouille. 8-yard gain on the play, doesn't fumble it, and we are all of a sudden on the 5-yard line. Very next play, it's going to go to a handoff for Casey Bug. He slices to the right, and it's going to go into the end zone for a touchdown. South Central Louisiana State Mud Dogs take a 35-17 lead here in Cajun Field. But the Raging Cajuns are not going to give up just yet, as they are going into their no-huddle offense to try to throw this defense off balance. It's going to be a halfback draw for the running back, who has plenty of room to head up field before being taken down, but not before a gain of 19 yards on the play. Very next play is going to be another run for Desmond Ryan, and this time around not as much of a gain, but still gets a nice gain of 13 yards on the play. Continues to move the ball upfield for this Raging Cajun offense, but that is stopped in their track as Matt Anderson tries to keep it for himself, but is caught for a gain of 4, or not a gain, but for a loss of 4 yards. So all of a sudden they're facing a 3rd and 14, and he is tackled just before he gets to the first down marker. Sets up his 4th and 1. But the Raging Cajuns are going to go for it here on 4th down, and it looks like they're just going to get it as Chris Bozeman is able to get a foot down before going out of bounds. Sets up a new set of downs for the Raging Cajuns in this Bourbon Bowl matchup. Very next play, Matt Anderson tries to run the speed option once again, but this South Central Louisiana State defense is too prepared to handle it, as we are forcing 2 straight losses, and it sets up this huge 3rd and 19. So hopefully we'll be able to get in without too much of a problem. However, the Cajuns are able to gain quite a few yards, as Ryan Brooks is able gain 14 yards, but they'll still have to settle for a field goal. So here we are, up 35-20, and that pass is almost intercepted, but instead falls harmlessly to the ground. Makes it a 2nd and 10. Very next play, we try to get it to our halfback as our safety valve, but for some reason Henry Klein thought he saw something, so they try to run the no huddle, and it is instead picked off by the cornerback in Barry, who takes it all the way down to, looks like, about the 28-yard line. Looks like the Raging Cajuns are going to be right back in business, as they may be facing a 2-score deficit, but they still have an opportunity to make this a game, and it's almost picked off by Nicholas Beverly off the drop pass, but instead it's going to be a 3rd and 6 that almost gets converted for a first down, but the receiver can't quite hang on to it. So the Raging Cajuns are only able to get a field goal off the turnover, so we're still up by 12 with about 2.5 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. Just have to be more careful with protecting that football. Don't want to turn the ball over too many times against this talented football team, as we're going to keep it to the ground for now, as Casey Bug's able to gain a few more yards for the first down, and sets up another halfback sweep for the running back in Carl Wright, as we're just continuing to ground and pound, but unfortunately Gee Grenouille is going to be stopped just short. But once again, they have a hard time stopping the run so far in this game, so we're going to continue to go for it here on these 4th and 1 situations, and I think this is our 3rd 4th down conversion of this game. It's been a huge difference maker throughout the course of this ball game, as Gee Grenouille is going to drop back, gets a nice dot over to John Espinoza, who thought he was a little bit closer to that out-of-bounds line than what he really was. But either way, Darren Joyce, he's actually going to run it into the end zone here, and it's going to be another touchdown for your Mud Dogs, as we take commanding 42-23 lead there. Darren Joyce is able to break a couple of tackles, use a couple of blockers, and is able to turn a 6-yard gain to a touchdown. So that is extremely cool to be able to see that. Louisiana Lafayette, though, is definitely not going to give up as the Mud Dogs almost get to the quarterback, but is able to get it off to the running back, Keon Davis, just in time. Is able to gain 7 yards on the play, sets up his 3rd and 3, which does get converted by Keon Davis once again. Ensuing play as both teams enter this 4th quarter here. It's going to be a halfback screen, but he's able to gain a few yards on the play, sets up a very manageable 2nd and 4. Tight end now goes into motion for the Raging Cajuns, and it's a run for Desmond Ryan, who is able to slice up to the left-hand side for a gain of 6 yards and the 1st down. As the Mud Dogs are now having a more difficult time dealing with this no huddle. Louisiana Lafayette is starting to find their rhythm on offense, but is it too late? We're sure hoping that it is, because we are trying not to get come back on. Because that would be an extremely tough way to lose that matchup if that was the case. But Louisiana Lafayette is continuing to move his ball down the field, as every time it seems like a play is going off on this drive, it is going for a 1st down. Except that one, of course. Andrew Babcock, I believe the backup tight end, is held for just a gain of 5 yards. But very next play, it's going to be a run for Desmond Ryan, and he nearly gets into the end zone, but is stopped just inside the 5-yard line. 1st and goal now for the Raging Cajuns, and Matt Anderson is caught for a loss of 4 yards. Gives his Mud Dog defense just a little bit more room. However, the very next play, Matt Anderson has plenty of room to run on the outside, and he's going to run it in for a touchdown, but is still down 42-30. Seeing the urgency of the situation, the Raging Cajuns are going to go for this offside kick, which is hit pretty well, but thankfully Ryan Wilson is there to pick up the fumble, and so all we have to do if we want to is to run out this clock before this game is officially over. And it looks like we might be able to do just that, as Casey Bug is able to gain 7 yards on the play right there. However, next 3rd and 2, though, gains that 4-yard play, but it's obviously getting a little bit more difficult for us to run. Not sure now if we'll be able to run out this clock, but Casey Bug is changing my mind here, though, as another 13 yards are gained on the play, and we're able to continue to move this ball forward. 3rd and 7, though, for your Mud Dogs, as we're experiencing a little lag on our end on Mud Dog TV, but it's going to be a 4th down, though, and we're going to have to settle for a field goal. Thankfully, though, we're still up by 15, and this game is pretty much going to be over, but the Raging Cajuns still have something to say about it, as they're going to try their hardest to keep fighting for this Raging Cajun crowd here, as there's another throw over to Desmond Ryan, as they continue to run their hurry-up offense and try to get one more touchdown before they have to try for another onside kick potentially. And it looks like they're going to be able to get behind the defense, and Keon Davis has just burned everybody. And not only do they get this touchdown, but they're going to go for this 2-point conversion here to try to make this a 1-possession game. And just like that, it is only a 1-possession game. So all they have to do is get this the offside kick, and it'll go and they might be able to come back and win this game. But we actually do recover the onside kick, and we are gonna leave Cajun Field against our rivals in the Bourbon Bowl, and we're gonna win our 2nd consecutive Bourbon Bowl game in 2 seasons. So we're going to leave this Bourbon Bowl game with a 45-38 victory. Got a little scary at the end. Thought we were going to be able to cruise by in the 4th quarter, but the Raging Cajuns showed a lot of heart, and they're nearly able to come back and win this game. So looking at the stats for our Mud Dogs here today, Stan Castillo only got the opportunity to throw 1 pass, which was completed for 10 yards before getting hurt and missing the rest of the game. Gee Grenouille, though, did a solid job of stepping in for us. 9 for 13, 159 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. that's more on the head coach putting them in a bad spot. Casey Bug was a huge factor for us today as he had 22 carries for 138 yards and a touchdown. Gee Grenouille and Carl Wright also contributed with touchdown on the ground with 46 yards and 16 yards respectively total on the day. And as for our receiving yards, we didn't throw the ball very much for the backup quarterback in, which is more understandable, but John Espinoza led us with 4 catches for 32 yards. The only touchdown catch that was caught today was Darren Joyce, who only had those 2 catches, but one of them went for 41 yards, and the other one was for a nice 33-yard gain, which was for a touchdown. Blocking I don't really care about, but Bobby Boucher leads us on the defensive end with 11 total tackles. Bobby Boucher is just having a really nice season. He might have the chance to go pro at the end, although I certainly hope not, as he has been a huge defensive piece for us. Nicholas Beverly, though, led us with 4 tackles for a loss. The junior out of Boca Raton, Florida. Also had various TFLs from James Joyce, TJ Covington, Doug Carrington, James Washington, and Casey Gibbs, the true freshman linebacker. We were also able to get a couple of recruits to sign with us, one in a left guard and one in a defensive tackle. So after that home win against our Bourbon Bowl rivals, we will be going on the road to play against Arkansas State. But until that episode drops, I just want to thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of South Central Louisiana State football. If you like what you see, make sure you leave a like, leave a comment for your boy. And if you really like my content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, as I do plan on dropping a lot of college football content as well as a little bit of pro basketball content in there as well. So until then, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.